In November of 2020, my husband and I had just moved onto the sailboat we bought in St. Lucia, a beautiful island in the Caribbean. During our 2 weeks of quarantine, a tall Englishman caught our attention. He came into the quarantine dock every day while anchored out in the bay. One day, overcoming our shyness and curiosity, we struck up a conversation, and that really never ended. Robin is a seasoned sailor, and he became our coach and friend, guiding us and basically teaching us how to sail over VHF radio as we navigated the Caribbean during COVID. Despite the age gap and our really different backgrounds, we became really good friends. During those strange and uncertain times, we dreamed up Paradigm Shift, a video series exploring how people adapt to a changing world. It never took off then, but I never really let it go. Since we returned to St. Lucia for Christmas in 2024, it's only fitting that the first episode is about him.
The world needs more love. It needs more compassion. It needs more understanding. I think we have this force that's always trying to convince you that other people, other types of people, other religions, that they're all bad people, and they're not. All of this is drummed up by the powers that be. When you get to go and meet people and you spend time with people, genuinely, they're mostly really, really nice. My name is Robin Toozs-Hobson. I was born in 1959 in the UK, and I am now situated in Le Marin, Martinique. What I do is a difficult question, but right at the moment I am a delivery skipper of yachts. I'm a professional sailor, and I either have been chartering my own boat, which is in the past, but now I'm delivering yachts for other people, and occasionally I'm private skippering. The job I'm on currently is to take a 50-foot catamaran from St. Lucia to Japan for the Japanese owner. We're going down to San Blas Islands, through the Panama Canal, across the Galapagos, Marquesas, Marshall Islands, one other stop, Guam, and then Tokyo. The journey's going to take about 5 months. I think what I enjoy most is that my life allows me to get a lot of contact with a lot of different people. I get to see a hell of a lot of how the world works. I get to meet people in their own environment, and I'm not living a conventional life, and not living a conventional life suits me. I think the biggest challenges I face are mostly internal things. I would say that what I do is, I wouldn't describe it necessarily as lonely, but it's heading towards that. It's a solitary life, because it means that whilst I have a social life, I don't have the opportunity to settle within any particular community. I'm constantly traveling, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. At the moment, I take it as a good thing. At some point, this has to end. You can't party 365 days a year for 12 years. A moment that changed the world for me, I guess, was when I was the managing director of a software house, and I had to merge it, and in the process I made myself redundant. The emotions from that were extreme, and I'm glad that enforced retirement happened when I was 46 and not 66, because it would have killed me. That meant that I had to reshape everything within my life, and what I learned about this life is that everything is temporary, and even when things are going really, really well, it's temporary, and when things are going really, really badly, it's temporary, and it happens, and life is passing so fast that you just have to grab each and every opportunity that you can at the time. And the one thing that yachting teaches you is do it now. Don't wait for tomorrow, do it now. So I would guess that was the start of the change of my life. I decided that a radical step was required. Small steps weren't doing it, and I had to do something extreme. So I went sailing in the Arctic. And from that led to where I am now. I guess the world changing affects my life mostly in the abhorrence I have to the things that are happening politically and economically, especially in the UK. I think what's happened in the last 14 years has been awful. It makes a difference as to at some point I want to go home, I want to spend time with my grandchildren. But the way that life works in the UK now, I struggle with seeing how I will adapt to that, having lived the life I've lived for the last 12 years. And one thing that's very, very apparent as I've got older is that I can handle the cold less well. That's a good way of putting it. I don't like the cold. The crazy thing was that I came out here with the objective, my primary objective was to sail around the world. And all the time, everything I've done over the last 12 years has always been with the thought of, this is only temporary, I'm going to be changing it again shortly. So I've had to live my life without planning anything in advance. And I'm very, very adapted now to realizing you don't need to plan a lot in advance. Yeah, there are some things you should do, but life has these curveballs. You know, friends that have planned, I've seen them fall ill, and things happen. So this idea that you have to map everything out, it's a nonsense. What you have to do is to be able to embrace change and just turn around and say, I'm going to do that. And if you do that, and once you can get your head around the idea that you don't have to know what you're going to be doing in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year's time, you really don't. The universe sorts it out for you. Good or bad, the universe sorts it out for you. And I guess that's the biggest change in thinking. And it's kind of hard to do that when you're younger. I mean, yes, you can do your carefree stuff, but you know, it comes a point where you think, I've got to do this and I've got to get on the hamster wheel. Yes, you do. You've got to do something to earn money, but embrace the change. Live it. Don't fear it. That's the big change. Just as you get older and you go through the experiences that I've gone through, you just realize that everything is temporary. And once you realize that everything's temporary, you just got to cope with the moment. You don't have to fear the future. You've got to cope for the moment and work it through, and you'll be all right. Or hopefully you'll be all right. A piece of advice for a future generation: live for the moment. Don't worry about things that you can't impact. Be empathetic. Be aware of other people's needs and emotions. That doesn't mean let them take over, but you can, if you start to think a little bit more about your fellow man, hopefully if you help someone, that'll be passed on. And then if everybody just passes that on, we can make it a better place. It might sound a bit cliched and a bit trite, but it's what I hope I practice. Enjoy life, go out and do it. Don't sit still. Get out there and do it.
Thank you for joining me on this journey to explore how people adapt and thrive in a changing world. I'm Manon the Reeper. I'm a filmmaker. And on my Patreon, I've shared behind-the-scenes insights about this video. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share. It helps me bring more incredible stories from around the globe to this channel. Let's keep the conversation going. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you on the next episode.